So to talk about horizontal asymptote, let us go over one example. In this example, I give you f of x equals to, let's follow the notes, 2x squared divided by x squared minus 1. I ask you to find the horizontal asymptotes for this function. So first of all, when you see a rational function, you need to find the domain of that function. The domain, as you remember, is equal to the set of all real numbers such that the denominator is not 0. X squared minus 1 is not 0. This is not enough. Guys, you need to solve this for me. This is equal to the set of all x values that x squared cannot be 1, or the domain is the set of all x values such that x cannot be plus minus 1. It means that you're allowed to plug in any number except for plus minus 1. If I ask you to visualize the domain, you're going to see that, hey, this is my x-axis, 0, 1, 2, 3, some positive numbers, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, some negative numbers. And then, since you have two numbers, you're going to use two open circles, two holes here. You're excluding 1 and negative 1. And you need to shade the rest of these. There we go. Well, you can write it this way. Negative infinity, we stop at negative 1, comma, negative 1, union 1 to negative 1 to 1, and union with 1 to positive infinity. So you need to feel comfortable about all of this format of writing the domain of a function. The vertical asymptotes. The vertical asymptotes are easy to write. Why? We already know that it's x equal to 1 and x equals to negative 1. You have two vertical asymptotes. So we expect the graph to have three parts, three sections, because you have two vertical asymptotes, two vertical lines that divide up the graph into three pieces. Now for the horizontal asymptote. Since m and n are both equals to 2, the horizontal asymptote is horizontal line y equals to 2 as the coefficient of x squared divided by 1 as the coefficient of x squared. 2 divided by 1, which is 2. Okay, you can graph this function as well. The graphing is not that difficult. Just plug in some points. Then you can use Desmos, but try to graph it yourself. You need to feel comfortable about these types of functions. So here you have your function, and we need to plug in different values. We need to exclude 1 and negative 1. We already know these two are vertical asymptotes. X equals to 1, x equals to negative 1. These two are vertical asymptotes that we have. So, for example, let us plug in, for example, 0, x and f of x. If x is equal to 0, I get 0 back, 0 and 0. If I plug in a half, what do I get? I get 2. Let's do the algebra here. This is y equals to 2. So if I plug in a half, I get 2 times a fourth divided by a fourth minus 1, or I have a half divided by negative 3 over 4. I have, so if I do this simplification here, I get negative 2/3. So at a half, I have negative 2/3 going to be here. If I plug in positive a half, you get negative 2/3. If you plug in negative a half, which is the number here, you're expecting to get the exact same result because these two have positive exponents. You get negative 2/3. So we expect the middle part of the graph behaves like this. So this is the middle part of your graph. Now we need to plug in some values from left, plug in some values from right, and do the point plotting here. So if I plug in, for example, -2, then -3, let's see. -2, so I get 2 times 4, 8, divided by 4 minus 1, 3, 8/3. If I plug in -3, then what happens? -3, I get 2 times 9, 18, divided by 9 minus 1, 8. So I get 9 divided by, right. So the number is getting smaller and smaller, am I right? So here 8/3, which is more than 9/4. The number is getting smaller, y value. So at -2, I have 8 divided by 3, 2 point something. 2 point something. And then I have 9 divided by 4, which is smaller. So it's getting smaller and smaller, am I right? So we expect the graph to behave like this. I'll plug in more values and verify this behavior. If I plug in +2 and +3, I get the exact same result. So what's the meaning of that? It means that the graph behaves like this as well. So far we found the vertical asymptotes. We know the horizontal asymptote is y equals to 2. So y equals to 2 is your horizontal asymptote. I just need to move this a little bit up over there. And then you have 2 vertical asymptotes. And that is it.